me testify. It's gonna be the year that I break every cycle. Let me testify, right hand on the Bible. I was tripping, chasing every empty title. Now I'm locked in, living like a walking Bible. He ain't failed me yet. Yes, work, yeah. Yes, work, yes, work. Ah!
Welcome to the Yes Work Podcast. We're your hosts, Lady B,
Dr. DQ,
and Dr. Blaire.
We welcome you to our podcast that exists at the intersection of faith, obedience, and activation, creating a space where we tell the truth about our walk with God and how we align our businesses, our leadership, and our calling with God's will. Each episode invites transformation, cultivates spiritual obedience, and activate strategies for lasting impact and legacy. Hey, ladies.
Hey, girl.
My gosh. I hope you all have had a wonderful week. Has it been
Yes.
good?
It's been good.
It's
God.
Tuesday. Nope. Whatever day it is what it is.
Yeah, what day it was. It's Wednesday. Yes.
It is.
And oh my gosh, it has been amazing. Thank you all for those who have been listening with us and rocking it with us for the last 2 episodes. We just appreciate all of the love and support that has been poured in. It really is such a blessing. And we really appreciate it. So, my gosh, we have a hot discussion topic today.
Yes.
So, this episode is for the woman who has been taught to endure in silence and now beginning to question the cost of that endurance. So, if you are the woman that has been carrying things quietly
Right.
for a long time, then sis, this episode is for you.
It is. And you know, one of the things that we highlighted in our retreat and our conversation was that we have a clear truth and things that we cannot unsee around Black women in particular who have been spiritually, culturally conditioned, enculturated, socialized to endure in silence, and then to call it holiness.
Okay, but honestly, I'm not even sure it's recognized as holiness. A lot of times women are fighting not to be that angry Black woman.
Yeah.
And they're fighting by being quiet, by being silent, or being slow to speak up and be heard. And honestly, that doesn't get us anywhere. So I'm not sure they associate that with holiness yet, but maybe, we can get into that. But that act actually eats away at us mentally, emotionally, and physically.
That's so real. And we are taught how to survive systems, right? We're not always taught how to be seen or heard because really we're the builders of the society, and unfortunately that hasn't been acknowledged by the cultural dominant. And that's not us as women. And yes, we're speaking to in particular Black women because that's how we identify, but that's all women, right? We have been taught how to survive this male dominated world. And silence is often praised.
Yeah.
So when you speak up, it's considered to be conflict, it's problematic. So when you're silent, silence is content and it's consent. So pain is minimized in this sense because I'm now having to take on this emotional tax, this emotional burden all by myself. Because if I speak about it, I'm complaining. It's a problem. I think it's important to stress that God didn't ask us to be quiet. He did not give us these gifts and these talents so we could just blend in, so we could just be mediocre, have some mediocrity and just be basic. We're not here to be, baby, nobody on this podcast.
No, we
is
don't do basic. Okay.
We do not. We do not. But silence was or is a way to safeguard and to stabilize our seat at the table. Even when we've made it, even when we're successful, there are still these moments where let me sit back, let me be quiet. And it's made us invisible. And sometimes even to ourselves, we can't even acknowledge our accolades and the things we've done because we're so used to that silence. So we look in the mirror and we don't even recognize ourselves anymore because of it.
Girl, come on. I mean, it's so good. It makes me think about the women that I encounter who are suffering in silence at churches, right? Within the church. within ministry organizations. And honestly, it's not because of the lack of the faith that they have, but it's because they have not been given themselves permission to be honest with themselves. And it's something that permission, it seems to be withheld by the culture, either that they surround themselves by, or even just the expectations that they have somewhat, I guess I would say, internalized. So, I mean, every time I speak with women, I mean, some of the things that you all have mentioned for sure, and we all have encountered them. But I am oftentimes seeing and hearing from women who are struggling to navigate the complexity of managing their homes, right? Or I'm, I'm one of them, carrying relational strain in marriages, living with that deep mental and spiritual exhaustion, right? And so all of this is honestly being endured privately, and somewhere along the way, I feel like many of us were told, this is what a strong woman looks like. This is how you're supposed to hold it together. You got this, girl. Just keep pushing. And on the outside, it appears that they are enduring the pain and the trauma. You're going to church, so you must know the Lord. But really, what we're seeing, or what I have seen and witnessed, is that the relationship with God is not there. They are internally really carrying these things alone. They're carrying these burdens alone. We as women, really, we're designed as Christians to share these things, to share in these burdens.
I think what hit for me, as far as what you said, Lady B, was that it's in the culture. It's rooted in the culture. Black culture, definitely, but other collectivistic societies as well. We often celebrate strength more than we protect health, right? We're not having conversations around, girl, get some help, find a therapist. It is routinely praised that we are strong, that we are resilient, that we can endure. And it's in public narratives, right? We see it all the time. We hear it all the time. In relationships,
Yes, them relationships too. That's for another day.
That's a great episode.
Yes, it is. Y'all let us know if you want us to talk through that, if you would love us to have an episode on that. Put that in the comments, because I think we can definitely go that direction. But it's important for us to acknowledge the vulnerability that is often framed as weakness. It's instability. It's a lack of faith. Pray about it. You'll be all right. Are you praying? Right? We hear these things, and it then feeds into that I need to be strong. And again, we're not protecting that health piece. We're not increasing awareness and visibility about wellness and what that looks like. We're performative, and it's about optics. And therapy is questioned more than it needs to be. And it's replacing kind of the other things that we have as far as coping, and we use people in different ways to get what we need, when sometimes we just need to seek out resources and support in other places.
I think too, just looking at that cultural perspective, it's what we saw growing up. How many of us saw our mothers, our grandmothers balancing jobs, balancing family, balancing careers,
Yes.
working on themselves, their fitness, working on themselves while working at 9 to 5. And society tells us we are the women. We hold stuff down.
We hold it together.
We have that in the home. We have that in the workplace. I can tell y'all how many times my daughter has bypassed my husband and come and ask me
Right.
for something to eat.
Right to you.
Right to me. I'm like, girl, your daddy is right here and he could cook. Okay.
Yeah.
But this also just makes me think about how we see this in media and in our celebrities. So I think about Coco Gauff and Naomi Osaka, who both a few years ago needed to take time off. I read about Coco Gauff. She's amazing. She's wonderful. She took time off. She cited depression. And she wasn't sure if tennis was what she wanted to do, because she wasn't sure if it was for her or if she was doing it for other people. And she talked about having to sit and think and cry and really get clear on what she wanted to do. And baby, people were mad about it. People were mad that she was prioritizing herself and not getting on a tennis court to hit the tennis ball back and forth. And she's amazing. But how selfish is society that they would rather a Black woman give all that they have to give for their entertainment at that.
Exactly. I was just about to say that for their
For
entertainment.
their entertainment, they would rather this Black woman do everything to entertain them than to respect that woman's need to sit down and take a breath. It's
That's
crazy.
It is. And, I actually think about the medical field and how there's real medical data surrounding the disparities, in particular when it comes to Black people and Black women when it comes to pain treatment. And I think this, again, just feeds into the cultural understanding that we're supposed to be strong. And then that translates to our body and our biological makeup as well. There is continuing racial bias around Black women that we can endure more pain than other races, that our skin is thicker, that our blood coagulates quicker. Like all of these false facts, right? That are, I can't say false facts because they're not facts. All this false information that's out here around Black people. And then it results in us getting less pain meds. It then results to us having to advocate for ourselves in different spaces. And we saw this with Serena Williams. She nearly died after childbirth because her voice was ignored. And she is Serena Williams staying on the tennis. Like, what are we talking about here? She was forced to endure physical pain and potential death because of the strong Black woman image that is out there and portrayed. So we have to be careful of these stereotypes and biases and how they translate to other areas and impact us internally, but externally as well because of how people treat us as a result of the lies.
The lies, right? I mean, and this just makes me think about my own personal story. So, while I was in school, I wanted to get healthy, lose weight. I wanted to give to me without losing the momentum of being present in my home. So I would work all day. I would cook. I would clean, trying to spend time with the kids. And I felt like, DQ, you're giving these blessings. So girl, just pick it up a notch and handle my business. And I felt like I was never getting ahead, like I was really spinning on a hamster wheel. Y'all, I was tired. I had a lot of moments of feeling overwhelmed and occasionally these small moments of depression. And I felt like my only purpose at one point was to work in my job and work in my home. And so I'm realizing, like I never talked to God about what and how to prioritize my time. And I never asked him to remove the distractions. I never asked him for clarity. So I could focus on the things that would give him glory. So naturally, y'all know I wasn't going to church. Some Sundays I'm still like, ooh, this bed feels good. Okay, I rushed. Yeah, girl, bedside Baptist. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It's a struggle still. I'm working on my consistency, working on my attendance. But there was a time where not only was I not going, but I didn't even feel the urge to go. Okay. I rushed my time with God and I made my connection with him optional. So I'm working on that and I'm shifting away from that mindset. And y'all, it's a journey. I'm telling you.
We proud of you though. My goodness.
I am so proud of you. And I just love the transparency, right? That, you showing up and saying it and doing the work, right? That is true yes work there,
So we
right? Like you said a lot of great nuggets there and I just appreciate hearing it.
Because I know I'm not the only one. So y'all come on, hold my hand. Or
You're
let me
not
hold
the
your
only
hand when I
one.
say this. Y'all, we're gonna take this journey together.
Well, it has me thinking. I know we said we can do a whole episode on it, but this really had me thinking about my own personal relationships, right? So, well, really, I guess I'll start off with saying, I was raised by strong women, right? I was raised by strong women who themselves were raised by strong women. And I was taught to have a voice. Brittany, use your voice, right? Use it well. And I was using I had to learn how to discern when to speak and when not to. I also encountered that silence. So silence for me was never about necessarily being voiceless. It was about knowing what felt safe to say and what didn't feel safe. And so there were things that I knew, growing up, like, no, I'm not going to talk about this, right? You're talking about things at work and things at home that you're doing. but I knew not to really talk about those things. Some things you just don't talk about.
Okay, keep that
Right.
private.
That's what the culture teaches you,
Yeah.
right? In Black cultures, especially, you just don't talk about it. What happens at home stays at home, right?
Mhm.
And I began to have that same thought. So there were things that I knew not to talk about. I knew not because they weren't real, but because I didn't want to be judged. I didn't
Mhm.
want to be misunderstood or seen as if I'm failing, right? Whether it's I'm failing as a wife or a mother, a daughter, even. I believe that, some of those struggles were just simply mine to carry quietly. I really, truly did think that. And I would say that it honestly followed me into my marriage. Girl, when I got married, I expected a fairy tale. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted a fairy tale. I thought things were going to look and feel a certain way. And the reality was it didn't. We struggled,
Mhm.
experienced conflict that we had to learn to navigate, how to navigate early on. And guess what made it more complicated was that internal tension that I had as a woman who had been encouraged, in the past to use her voice. Yet I didn't feel comfortable sharing what was happening at home.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put my business out there. I didn't want to seem like I was the wife that was failing. I wasn't doing my duties. And honestly, like Dr. DQ said, I wasn't turning to God at that time. I wasn't honest with myself. I wasn't honest with God. And honestly, I was ignoring it. I was running away from it. And the cost of that, ladies, is just everything. The
Mm.
cost of carrying all of that was, I would say, is just heavier than I realized. I felt alone at times. I definitely internalized that guilt. Right, the mom guilt, the wife guilt,
Mm.
the professional guilt. Like, well, I'm not even spending enough time at work. And whether or not to use my voice there. So I definitely questioned whether I was showing up correctly in that space. But, I thank God for healing because things
Yes.
Mhm.
definitely began to change when I started to find my community, start sharing carefully and wisely with trusted friends. I would share a little and then I would hear other people's stories and they would say, "Girl, me too." And, suddenly that isolation, time is broken. So I realized I'm not alone. I wasn't crazy. So today I know that I don't have to silence who I am. Who I am to be faithful. I know to take my burdens to God first. I know that He is the one to lean on, which is why, this conversation for me, it matters. It is significant because whatever we ignore, it doesn't stay hidden. It honestly is shaping us. So I love
That's
that.
good. I want to speak a little bit to what you said about feeling safe. That's real for
Mm-hmm.
us as Black women, wanting to feel safe because in society we're not kept safe, right?
Mm.
And I mean, it just makes me think about the number of times I've walked into a space and I'm looking for the other Black woman and
Mm-hmm.
I want to connect with them outside of this space to be like, girl, did you hear what I heard? When we
Uh-huh.
think about that in work. So I think safety is so important to highlight in what you said.
Yeah.
I know what resonates for me and what I connected to is just the feelings around guilt, and I would say spiritual guilt, right? Maybe cultural guilt as well, because again, there's this hidden, maybe not so hidden. It's pretty vocal, non-hidden expectation again for resiliency, for strength, etc. But I've definitely had some guilt around being angry or being hurt or being confused and not necessarily knowing where to go or what direction I'm supposed to guide my family or my children, etc. And this is with, all types of relationships, the relationship with the kids, relationship with my husband, on the job, like on the job, y'all. Like I'm constantly being told you should be really grateful that you still have a job. What do you
Mm-hmm.
what? What? Let me tell you, faith aside of a mustard seed. I'm grateful for. What do you mean? You should be grateful that I'm still here and you have the ability to get my knowledge, my wisdom, my words, my expertise.
Because
But this is
I'm willing to bet that
like
that
where
came from somebody that makes more money than you too, right?
let me tell you how it's always, right? That's what the feeling like. How you gonna
I
tell me what
appreciate
I
that.
should be grateful for with your 6 figures? But it is again the spiritual and internalized guilt, but then you get that from others as well. Like you should be grateful, you should be thankful. Like you're able to have kids, you have a partner, you have fill in the blank, right? It's a Brene
Yes.
Brown story right there. That's not empathy. You telling me to find the silver lining in my story is not helping me to empathize. You know what I'm saying? To be okay with my situation. So I think about what we're told and how we've internalized that we should be thankful for what we have and told that we fight our battles in praise, which I will say works. Listen, I fight my battles by giving all the glory to God. And it's also produced this splash of guilt around the sadness, the anger, those things where I feel like I don't have a right to feel those things because look at where I am. Look how blessed I am. Look how privileged I am. So I realized that I would get in this space of talking about God and I wasn't talking to him. Oops.
Oh,
Like I would, I'm gonna pray about, and I, if anything, was a prophetess walking around just doing all these things, and I wasn't actually at night in solitude going into my prayer closet. Literally, I'm in a closet right now, y'all. The acoustics are great, but I wasn't going to that space and talking to him. I was talking about him, but not to him. And a lot of things contributed to it. Like I literally hear friends and family say, I don't need a therapist. Like I got y'all. Or you don't need therapy because just pray about it. What happens in this house, like you said, Brittany, stays in this house. There's things that we're supposed to keep close to the chest, etc. And all of these things lead to an increased sense of guilt around the feelings that we have. Everything that we feel, Jesus felt. When he was walking this earth, he experienced all the emotions and all the feelings that we have. He got frustrated. He got mad. Just like, so why should I feel any sense of guilt around feeling anger or feeling saddened by things? So I really learned in the midst of being reflective that I can't just talk about him. I have to talk to him. And that's what's really been able to help me to feel like who I say I am is who I am because I do seek him. And if I'm not seeking him, then he'll put it blatantly in my face that I said to call on me first.
Won't he do it? Man, wow. So, gosh, when I listen to both of your own stories and I reflect on my story, I realize that so much of our silence, it wasn't about faith itself. It was about the messages that we absorbed about what faith was supposed to look like, how our actions were supposed to be, how are we supposed to behave in certain spaces. These are things that was picked up from whomever, right? From whomever in the culture, whoever outside of the culture, it was picked up. And it's not what God says. And I loved, Dr. Blaire, how you said that you had to talk to God. Reframing that is amazing. So this is where definitely reframing situations with God becomes essential for us because culture has discipled many of us long before scripture did. We were in the culture, learning the culture, we picking up behaviors and patterns of the world.
absolutely.
But really, if we just follow and lean into the scripture, the stories in the Bible, there's women in the Bible use their voices
Yes.
all the time. Strong women.
Real. What's wrong with a K? Strong.
Looking back now, a question for you. So where do you see a difference between what culture taught you to endure and what God was actually inviting you into?
I can easily see the contradictions because, like, even in you saying that there are both, and we talk about the 12 disciples, right, and those that were following Jesus. Jesus had women in his crew, right, and we don't. Okay, there were women that were walking alongside him in his journey, and that absolutely contradicts what we see in society. there are these sayings where it's like, the president, but it's really the first lady that's running the house. Well, if that's the case, then she should be, when she right there next to him, give her the mic. What are we talking about? Right? So there are stark contradictions, right? Because Jesus allowed these amazing and beautiful women to have a voice and to disciple on his behalf, right? But then culture, for whatever reason, said we're lesser than. I said, at what point AD did we lose the fact that women run things? Right? Why did it take Beyonce saying that we run the world for people to recognize that we've always been present, that our voice has always been strong and needed to be in this space? Like, where did we get this male-dominated cultural norm? Who gave them the mic? Take it away.
And similarly, to tag along to Dr. Blaire, because women are expected to do so much, that it means that men can't do certain things. Okay, they can't. Like I said, my husband can cook, thank God, because who's not cooking every day? Me. Ain't gonna do it.
Hand
Okay,
raised.
laundry,
He's
cleaning.
capable.
Yeah.
Okay, so while each relationship you guys get to determine exactly who's doing what, there is nothing that a man can't do. So just like women can do more and society tries to tell us otherwise, society is also lying about what men can do and what they're capable of.
And we're called to empower them, right? When we are living in our calling and in our strength and in our purpose, we're able to lift our men up. So it's a joint venture. Like, I don't know, again, who gave them the mic?
And I mean, and God wants us to use our voice. I cannot say that enough, right? God gave us a voice to use. He consistently is inviting us to use our voice. And I thank God because we have this platform where we're able to use
Yes.
our voice. But he wants us to engage and initiate conversations with his people and have discussions. We are capable. And sometimes as women, we need to be reminded we are capable. We're able.
This is your reminder.
It is. All right. So as you've been listening, you are probably able to resonate with one of our stories. So some of you guys might find yourself holding it together for so long that you forgot how to fall apart. You're afraid of breaking down because you literally cannot fathom the thought of breaking. Just that thought scares you, right? You don't know how to talk to God without censoring yourself. You don't want to disrespect God, but you're also not sure how to be transparent with him, even though he knows you in and out, through and through, counting the hairs on all your heads. Okay? Your locks, your twists, your braids.
Yes.
How many strands on that sew-in? Sis, he knows you, okay?
Love
And you
it.
fear that honesty will make you unfaithful, but it won't. It'll actually bring you closer to God. So, sis, break them chains. Break
Yes.
them.
I think you give them what they need to hear. I think it's so important that we recognize and honor the fact that we don't have to say things beautifully. Like, God doesn't need us to be this linguist and to have this grandiose tone and communicate. God is not grading your honesty. He just wants you. He just wants you. So our invitation to you all is to think about, what have you never said out loud to God? He already knows it, but he literally in the word says, I need you to say it to me. I need you to speak that thing out loud to me. Take accountability, take responsibility, repent, have remorse. So what have you never said out loud to him? Where did you learn that silence equals faith? I want you to unpack that. Is it through your family system, whoever raised you, your caregivers? Was it through the role model you had? Was it that what the first lady said in the church? What authority figure, right? Has you having that understanding that silence is on the same level as your faith, because he needs you to find that language. He needs you to find those words. You got to break it down and think about what truth is waiting for you to just say out loud. Go into the closet. Go outside. If you in Michigan, don't go outside right now because it's cold, but go outside and just say it out loud. Just have that, go into your car, go in the back row of the bus, wherever you are, just say it out loud and say, God, I'm giving it to you right now. This is yours. It was never mine in the first place. I'm sorry that I tried to hold on to it. I give it to you. And if I try to take it back, steal it from me. Yank it from my thoughts, from my mind. Just take it back. That's my invitation to y'all. Everybody listening.
Everybody. Wow. It's powerful, right? And I just want to say, as we close today, as the doors of the church,
may the Lord watch between me and thee while
but
we're
as we
absent.
close today, sis, I want to remind you that you are not alone. I think what's powerful for me is that I've had women reach out to me since we started this podcast. Like, girl, episode 1 and 2 is what I needed.
Yes.
Right. And I just want you to know you're not alone. Okay. Everything we discussed in this episode, the silence, the endurance, the questions that you're carrying, you are not alone in any of it. There are so many women out here, including us, navigating the same tensions, the same questions of their faith, the same desire to be honest with God. And I want to be clear, right? I want to be clear that your voice is not a threat to God.
Right.
It's not rebellion.
Come on.
It's not weakness.
No.
Your voice is part of your relationship with him. That's all he wants. He wants just a relationship with you. And God is not asking for your silence. He is inviting you to honesty. So this is only our 3rd episode of the Yes Work podcast.
Yes.
And we want this to be a conversation, honestly. This is not a monologue. We're just us talking. We want this really to be a conversation. So, I do pray that something has resonated with you all today. And we invite you all to let us know. So you can leave a review. You can drop a comment. You can send us a question or even just tell us something that you can no longer unsee or other future topics that you would love to hear. I love how Dr. DQ posed the idea of having listening parties. So we do encourage you all to gather with your girls, host a listening party. Use this conversation in your networking circles, right? These are great conversations. Be the one to initiate the conversation because we know that women are out there looking for community, looking for support. So bring it to those spaces and let this episode really be the starting point for some of that honest dialogue. So in our next episode, we will be exploring a question many of us are confronting in this season. Listen, we got a lot of questions. We got a lot of topics. And so our episode 4, we're super excited because NDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? Yep, that's right. Episode 4, when independence stops working. Okay, so I don't know if y'all ever asked any questions around that, but has independence replaced dependence on God for you? Sis, I gotta ask myself that question. But thank you, ladies. We thank you all, listeners. We thank you for spending this time with us. Stay connected, stay honest, and keep saying yes to the work.
Yes.
Yes.